June 6, 1944. The world holds its breath. Thousands of Allied ships crossed the English Channel toward the beaches of Nazi-occupied France. What follows is one of the most ambitious military operations in history, the Battle of Normandy. Known as D-Day, it was the moment that changed the course of World War II. By 1944, Nazi Germany controlled most of Europe. The Soviet Union was fighting fiercely on the Eastern Front, demanding that the Allies open a second front in the West. For years, the Allies planned a massive invasion to liberate France and push back Hitler's forces, codenamed Operation Overlord. The plan required months of preparation, deception, and coordination between British, American, and Canadian forces. General Dwight D. Eisenhower was appointed Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force. The stakes were enormous. Success would lead to victory in Europe, but failure would prolong the war, or even hand Hitler a decisive win. In early 1944, the Allies began gathering men, ships, and supplies in southern England. Over 2 million troops were involved in the build-up. To keep the Germans guessing, the Allies launched an elaborate deception campaign, Operation Fortitude, making the Germans believe the invasion would land in Pas-de-Calais, not Normandy. Meanwhile, the weather became a critical factor. Storms in early June delayed the assault. Finally, on the night of June 5th, Eisenhower gave the order, "Okay, let's go." The invasion of D-Day would begin at dawn on June 6th. At midnight, paratroopers from the US 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions, along with British, Canadian, and expeditionary units from occupied states of Europe, they all dropped behind enemy lines. Their mission was to secure key bridges and disrupt German communications before the main landings. At dawn, an armada of over 5,000 ships approached the Normandy coast. Allied troops stormed 5 beaches: Utah, Omaha, Gold, Juno, and Sword. Resistance varied by location. At Utah Beach, American forces advanced quickly, but at Omaha Beach, the US 1st and 29th Divisions faced brutal gunfire, heavy losses, and chaos. Waves of soldiers were cut down before reaching the cliffs. Still, through determination and sheer courage, the Allies managed to establish a foothold by the end of the day. Over 156,000 troops had landed, completing the largest amphibious invasion in history. Capturing the beaches was just the beginning. The real challenge lay ahead, breaking out of the heavily fortified countryside of Normandy. The region's hedgerows, thick, ancient earth walls, made it perfect for German defense. The Allies faced the experienced 7th German Army and elite panzer divisions. Fighting was slow and brutal. Towns like Caen, Renton, and Saint-Lô became battlegrounds. Air superiority gave the Allies an advantage, but German tanks and snipers made every mile costly. By mid-July, the Allies launched Operation Cobra, a massive air and ground offensive that finally broke through the German lines. American forces under General Patton swept through the countryside, while British and Canadian forces pinned down the Germans in the north. By August 1944, the German army was in full retreat. Allied forces encircled tens of thousands of German troops in what became known as the Falaise Pocket. It was a massacre. Over 10,000 Germans were killed and another 50,000 captured. The destruction of German forces in Normandy opened the road to Paris. On August 25, 1944, Paris was liberated. The success of the Normandy campaign marked the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The Battle of Normandy was a turning point in World War II, but victory came at a terrible cost. Allied casualties reached over 200,000, with more than 37,000 dead. German losses were even higher. Thousands of French civilians were killed in bombings and fighting across the countryside. Yet despite the destruction, D-Day became a symbol of unity, courage, and sacrifice. It proved that the Allies could work together to defeat tyranny. The success of the Normandy invasion opened the path to Germany. Within a year, Hitler would be dead, and Europe would be free from Nazi control. D-Day remains one of the most studied and commemorated events in military history, not just for its scale, but for what it represented: hope, cooperation, and the human cost of freedom. Today, the beaches of Normandy are peaceful, dotted with memorials and cemeteries that remind us of the price of liberation. In conclusion, the Battle of Normandy was more than a military operation. It was a turning point in human history. It showed that even the darkest moments, courage and unity can overcome oppression. From the men who stormed the beaches to those who never returned home, their bravery ensured that the flame of freedom would continue to burn. June 6, 1944 was a day that changed the world forever. And with this, I thank you for watching. If you like this video, please comment, like and subscribe. And with this, have a nice day. See you next time.